Hello everyone, it is a wonderful pleasure to have you joining me. It is time for Actual English, of course, with me, Jennifer Clyde. It's a brand new program for all of you out there, for new viewers and of course, old viewers as well. I have hosted a very similar program targeted for all of you that are interested in improving your English speaking skills. So, I'm sure that many of you are actually viewing this program that have viewed the actual speaking program with me, but to all of our new viewers, welcome to the lessons. We've got many different topics and I'll be joining you each day of the week. We're going to tie up very similar or related topics each and every week. So, I hope you can have fun with me. The whole idea of, I guess, learning a foreign language, especially improving your speaking skills, it all has to do with having fun. So, everyone, do not be pressured, don't get stressed out because you don't remember things, anything English is difficult, just relax, be at ease and have fun with me. Okay, to tell you a bit about our program, as I did tell you, I'll be joining you every day of the week. Our program consists of two big segments. I'll be joining you with actual talk to begin with, and then we'll share actual story. Very similar to an interview that you can listen to and learn many wonderful expressions. Okay, alright, I'll be giving you more details on a program later on. So, first of all, our topic for the day is self-introduction. Now, when you meet somebody for the first time, it can be at a workplace. It can be at a party, for example, like a social gathering. So, we're going to start off by practicing or learning expressions that you can use to introduce yourself at a workplace. Perhaps a new company or at a new job. So, are you ready? Let's get started. Let's begin with today's actual talk. Hey, Peter. Hey, Rachel, how are you? I'm good, but I'm a bit nervous because I'm starting at a new company in a couple days, but I don't really know how to introduce myself to a new group of people. I guess, yeah, the first day at a company is nerve-wracking. Yeah, so many new faces and they all know each other as well. That's even worse, but there are some things that I could say you should do on your face. I love some advice. Okay, a firm handshake, that's key to project confidence, but not too hard. You don't want to hurt the other person, but not too flimsy as well. I hate a wet, flimsy handshake. So, if you're feeling nervous and sweaty, perhaps give your hand a wipe as well. Oh, like a handkerchief in my pocket. Yeah, absolutely. You don't have that just on the back of your skirt or trousers. Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Yeah, because when it's a sweaty hand that you come to, they're going to call you clammy hands. That's true. All right. So a firm handshake is really important. Yeah, and then eye contact as well. All of these things is to project your confidence, right? Eye contact and a big smile, I think that always helps. It makes people feel much more comfortable if you're happy as well. Yeah, that's true. That definitely will leave a great first impression. Your smile, right? Yeah, as long as you don't have something stuck in your teeth. Oh, no, I'll have to check. I will have to get a mirror and check my teeth, that's for sure. All right, so you're saying a firm handshake isn't important. Good eye contact. Those show that I'm confident, right? Yeah. And then a friendly smile will show that I'm at ease and I'm comfortable with my surroundings. Sure, and then maybe the last thing, remember people's names. And when you say your name as well, project it loudly so they remember you. That's true. But, there are so many people that I have to meet that, how do I remember all their names? I think writing it down as soon as you can, the earliest possible opportunity. But I think that's about it, and I think you'll be fine, Rachel. You think so? Yes. All right, well, I can't wait to use that advice on my first day at my new company. Think his quest. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Did you enjoy today's actual talk? Of course, the dialogue between Rachel and Peter. Now, what were they talking about? The two were talking about introducing themselves at a workplace, right? Rachel mentioned that she is planning on starting work at a new company, and Peter gave her some great advice. So let's take a look at the dialogue line by line. Here's today's actual talk. Now, of course, in the beginning they casually say hello and Rachel says, "I'm doing good." I'm good, but I'm a bit nervous. Bit meaning I am a little nervous. Now, why so? She explains, because I'm starting at a new company in a couple of days. Now, let's take a look at this part. To start at one place. Of course, start means to begin something. In this case, we're talking about starting work at a new company, okay? And then she says, "But I don't really know how to introduce myself to a new group of people," meaning a new group of people that she does not know well, okay? So new people that she'll be meeting at the new workplace. Moving on, now Peter says the first day at a company is nerve-wracking, right? And then he says, you meet so many new faces. So first of all, he's talking about the first day at work. It could be nerve-wracking. Now, let's first of all find out what nerve-wracking means. So here we go. Now, nerve. We have nerve flowing in our body, but when you say nerve-wracking, you're saying that something is very stressful, okay? Something can worry you and something can stress you out. So in that case, you can say something is nerve-wracking. All right. And also, let's take a look at another one. Remember, there was new face. I think even in Korea, a lot of Koreans say, "Oh, do you pace it? Do you pace it?" What does that mean? That's right. Somebody that you don't know that you are meeting for the first time. So a new face actually means people that you meet for the first time, okay? So keep those in mind. Let's move back to the dialogue. Okay. And then he says, you meet so many new faces, meaning new people, and they all know each other as well. And he says, that is even worse because everyone else, they all know each other, but you don't. Okay. Moving on. He says, but there are some things you should do on your first day. And then he moves on by giving her some great advice. Okay. First of all, he says a firm handshake. That is key to project confidence. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Okay. Basically, even if you don't know the definitions of these words, a firm handshake, of course, we say hello by shaking hands, a handshake, and also key. We're not talking about a key that we use to open a door. And here, it's not project. It's actually to project. So let's take a look at what these words mean. First of all, a firm handshake, let's take a look. So a firm, when you say firm, it means very strong, not weak, not soft. So he says, a firm handshake is important. It means when you shake somebody's hand, don't hold their hand too softly. Okay. Make sure it's solid and firm. And another one we took a look at was key. Okay. Something is key. In this case, means that something is important. It's crucial. Okay. It is vital. So keep those definitions in mind. And there was one more to project. Okay. In this case, the stress goes in the second syllable. As you can see, it's not project. When it's a verb, it should be project. Project. One more time, project. So you should project confidence, meaning you should show confidence to others. Basically, means to give or express a clear impression of what you are trying to say, perhaps your thoughts or even your feelings. Okay. Okay. And then let's move on. Moving on. He says, but not too hard, because he's talking about a very strong, a firm handshake. You don't want to hurt the other person. He's just joking. He says, but not too flimsy as well. Okay. Now what is flimsy? Let's take a look. Okay. Flimsy basically is an adjective. And as you see, the pronunciation is flimsy. Flimsy. It's not pronounced with an S sound, but it's closer to a Z sound. Flimsy. Flimsy. Okay. Now flimsy means the very opposite of firm. So it means very weak. Okay. So basically flimsy once again, weak without strength, often also used as unstable. So let's go back to the dialogue. All right. I hate a wet flimsy handshake, a wet meaning very, very moist flimsy handshake. So if you are feeling nervous and sweaty, perhaps give your hand a wipe as well. So basically he is saying that when you shake somebody's hand once again, don't shake your hand too softly, but give them a firm handshake. And now they're talking about a very wet, a very moist, a very sweaty handshake. Let's move on and see what else they say. Now Rachel says, oh, so if you have sweaty hands, maybe you need a handkerchief, right? Handkerchief. Sonsugong in Korean. And then he jokes and says, if you don't have that, just go to the back of your skirt or trousers. Now here the word is the verb go. In this case, Peter is not saying actually go to one's skirt or trousers. He's saying, well, wipe your hands on your skirt or your trousers, okay? And then he says, because when it's a sweaty hand, Rachel says clammy hands. Now this is a very interesting word. Clammy, let's take a look. Clam itself in Korean is chewy, right? Now if you see that something is clammy, it means that it is wet and moist. So here we go, check out the definition of clammy, okay? So clammy basically isn't adjective. As you say, the stress goes on the first syllable, clammy. It's cold and damp, covered with moist, basically sweaty hands, okay? And then here's an example. If you say that somebody has clammy hands, you mean that person has wet and moist hands, or even better, we'll be taking a look at it. You can call somebody clammy hands, meaning that person has sweaty hands, or it is a person with sweaty hands. Let's move on. So he says, if you have clammy hands or wet hands, moist hands, they're going to call you clammy hands. I did explain to you, clammy hands means a person with very wet or sweaty hands. So she just makes sure. Rachel says, all right, so a firm handshake is really important. It's crucial, it's key. And Peter says, then eye contact is important as well. Moving on, a big smile is important. And he says, I think that always helps. It makes people feel much more comfortable, all right? And then moving on. Now, Rachel says, that definitely will leave a great first impression. I'm sure you all may be aware of first impression. In Korean, it's simply tudding, right? So there are very important things you should keep in mind to leave or give a great first impression. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Now, to leave an impression, it can be a bad impression or a good impression, but to leave an impression means to give somebody an idea of what you are like. So to provide a lasting memory for someone, okay? Okay, let's move on. And then they say, as long as you don't have something stuck in your teeth. Basically meaning, for example, you may have had something very spicy, Korean food. You might have red pepper powder stuck between your teeth, so you think, make sure you don't have something stuck between your teeth. Moving on, now she says, I'll have to get a mirror and check my teeth. That's for sure. Now, once again, she makes sure a firm handshake is important. Also, good eye contact is important. Now, these show confidence. This all shows that I am confident, and a friendly smile will show that I am at ease. Now, let's take a look at ease, for example. Okay, here we go. Now, to be at ease means to be without worry. You're feeling comfortable, you're feeling relaxed. So if I say, I'm feeling at ease, it means I'm feeling easy, relaxed and comfortable, okay? And then moving on, she says, and that I'm comfortable with my surroundings. We took a look at this long time ago as well. Now, surroundings basically means your environment, okay? Your surrounding environment, okay? So let's move on and check out what they say. Now, Peter says sure, then maybe the last thing, he says, remember people's names. This is very important when it comes to introducing yourself to people that you meet for the first time. Remembering people's names is very important. And then he says, and when you say your name as well, project it loudly. One more time. Now, in this case, we are not talking about project as in a noun, but it's used as a verb, so how should it be pronounced? Project, okay? Project your name loudly so that they can hear you and remember your name, okay? And then moving on, but you know there's so many people that I have to meet, she says. So she asks, how do I remember all their names, okay? Now, Peter gives great advice once again, writing it down. Now, to write something down basically means to take notes, right? So let's take a look. To write something down means to make a note of something, take a memo or notice something so that you do not forget, okay? Moving on. Now, as soon as you can, at the earliest opportunity, okay? At the earliest opportunity, basically meaning ASAP as soon as possible. And then he says, and I think you'll be fine, Rachel. So he hopes her the best. Now, she says, you think so? All right. Well, I can't wait to use that advice on my first day at my new company. And then finally, what does Peter say? He says, fingers crossed. Now, usually when we say fingers crossed, we may say, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. So let's take a look at fingers crossed. Now, to keep someone's fingers crossed, we often do this. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. And very simply, you can also say fingers crossed. It basically means that you are wishing the other person luck. So it means good luck to you. I'll keep my fingers crossed so that everything will work out well, okay? That about brings us to an end. Today's actual talk, everyone. We've got Rachel saying thank you at the end of the conversation. So here we go. Take a listen to actual talk one more time with the subtitles.